Well, my name is Zosia, and I was born in Warsaw, and I lived in Warsaw until I left it. I was nearly 20. I come from not a very far from a wealthy background. My father was working at tailoring very hard. We were 4 siblings, 4 sisters. We had a nice relationship. The family was very close-knit. When Warsaw was occupied by Germany, we started to feel straight away the impact of the occupation. The Germans, the German army and the Gestapo were maltreating the people in a horrible way. They were just trying to catch the men, beat them up. My husband went a few times out to get some bread or some potatoes, something to eat, because there was nothing to eat. We went through a month of near starvation, and he was caught once and was forced to empty everything and beaten up. The next time he was called to work and came home, he was all covered in blood, and he decided to leave at all cost. And we really did not think that it will take long and we will be able to come back, because we went out to the Soviet-occupied territory. There was no transport available, no trains, no trams, and we had to walk around 60 kilometers a day with blistered feet, hungry, cold, until we reached a small township. We were forced to go into cattle wagons, cramped. Of course, 60, 70 people per wagon. There was hardly any room to stretch your legs. And we were traveling for nearly 4 weeks. They used to give us some bread and a little soup on the way, not much. We were working on the farm for a while, and I decided I wanted very much to continue my studies. There was a possibility, and I applied for it, and luckily I was granted permission, and I was transferred in another township where there was a higher medical school. I was admitted to there and was studying for a while. That was in 1940, 1941. I was studying and he was working until the war broke out in June 1941. He was mobilized into the army, and I was left alone. At that time, I was 5 months pregnant. All the students were transferred to work in a field hospital, attending to the wounded soldiers, because we were very close to the front line. I was busy all day, working very hard, listening to their moans. We hardly had anything to eat. It was, after all, very hard. It was close to the front line. All we had all day was the machine guns and the screams. The nearest hospital was around a few kilometers away from this township. And I didn't have anyone to go with me because the landlady where I lived could not help me. She was busy with another tenant who was very severely sick. And she attended to him, so I started to walk alone. It was cold, it was December, the ground was frozen and slippery. We didn't wear appropriate footwear, we were not dressed appropriately, and I had to walk for all these kilometers on my own, crouched in pain. When I opened my eyes, I was inside in the hospital, and two nurses were standing over me, asking me why I am alone, why did nobody accompany me. And I said that I have no one to come with me, that I am left alone. So they took me, put me into a bed, which was very great comfort to me. At least it was warmer a bit. Put a hot water bottle to my feet, gave me a bit of hot tea. And then my pain was lasting for over 24 hours. Eventually I gave birth to a nice little girl. Before she was born, I really didn't look forward to have a baby. I knew how hard it will be for her and for me. And not having a father, I didn't know at that time whether he is alive or not. When the baby was born, I felt different a bit. I loved her. I felt she needed me so much, and I also needed her because not having anyone. But I was very lonely in the hospital. There were other women who were living there, and they used to have visitors. I had no one. And once a lady, one of the women, asked me why I am crying. She thought I must be hungry, and she brought me a little biscuit that someone gave to her. And I started to cry, and I told her why I am crying, that it is not a matter of the biscuit, it is that I haven't got anyone to visit me, and I am just alone here with my baby. And when I knocked the door, my landlady and the wife of the tenant have met me with sour face, and they looked at the baby, and the wife of the tenant said, "Look, why do you have to bind your mother's hand? Why don't you die? Here a man is dying, and you keep your mother's hand tied up. You should die instead of him." Of course, I was crying. I felt my baby was being cursed. I had a very hard life with the baby. There was no water available, drinking water, because the water which was in this area was filled with sulfur, and it was not edible, or it was not suitable even for washing. So we had to go quite a few kilometers to catch some water from a well. And considering that I had to bath the baby every day, it was not easy. We also didn't have any heating. So I was trying to do some dressmaking for people, and they looked after the baby, and I was sewing up for them. So somehow I survived until it was impossible. The front line was nearing more and more, and people started to evacuate, and I decided to evacuate with my child. So by trains, that was possible, of course, not passenger trains, but whenever we could get a lift with the train to go somewhere. And mostly we used to walk on foot. I remember once an aeroplane attacked the whole train, and we were jumping out, and we went through a field, and so many people were killed. And I remember that I have covered Tanya. It was quite stupid for me, but what would she do if I would be killed? But anyway, it was an instinct probably. She became deaf, totally deaf at that time. She did not react on anything. After a few days it cleared a little bit up. Everything was destroyed, even the nappies, and I have torn my frock, and I made some nappies for the babies, and I was just wearing an overcoat on top of me. I remember being in Ashgabat in a train station. I remember, will never forget, a bench, and on the bench were lying dead children, babies. And I had a terrible feeling. I thought I could see that maybe my Tanya will join them soon. I wasn't mistaken, because she was absolutely starved. When she died, she weighed less than when she was born. I was completely on my own, and I was also very ill with malaria and malnourished. I had no strength to stand in a queue, and whenever I tried to stand in a queue for a bit of bread, the window where they distributed the bread was shut down. I could never get it. So I don't know what kept me alive. I used to go out and just gather a bit of grass, which everyone was treating on, and just boil some water, boil the grass, and then again boil it and eat it. I also had some grapes, which someone also from the same, which was in a similar situation that I was. She lost a child, but she had more courage and more strength. She used to go and gather some grapes, which were growing there, and she used sometimes to come and give me some, and that was our food, really. I received the letter. It was an unbelievable moment. I thought that I am going that I am going mad. I became hysterical, and before he managed to get any reply, he did send me some money. So I have sent my friend to buy some bread on the black market, and we shared it, and little by little he started to support me, and he was already placed in Novosibirsk in Siberia in an ammunition factory. And this is how I survived. Wouldn't he found me, I would certainly not survive the war. We came back from the Soviet Union, we were repatriated, and we arrived to Poland, we didn't have anything. Nobody survived, neither from my family nor from my husband's family. We were left alone, and I had a quite numerous family, extended family beside my own. But I haven't the slightest idea. What it hurts me most that I already forgot their faces. Sometimes I can hear my mother calling me from time to time, but I can't remember, I can't recall her face because I have no photograph, nothing. But we decided we faced a great hostility from the Polish population. Anti-Semitic feelings have not been forgotten, and we decided, because we didn't have anyone there, we decided to leave Poland. We used to speak when we used to meet here, friends. They were all refugees, and there was no talk that would not touch the theme of the Holocaust. We were still living in the past. We cannot, not that we cannot forget it, we still dwell in it, no matter how much we want to get out of it. My children know about it. They don't know all, but they were very well aware of what happened. And when I retired, the Holocaust Museum, a year later, the Holocaust Museum was established. So someone suggested to me that maybe I'll start working. I didn't think much about it. I just wanted to be occupied, and I went there, and little by little I felt what a great importance it is for this institution to exist.